Klose Racing Supply in Eldred, Pennsylvania has been in business since 1996, serving the motorsports industry with quality parts for dirt late models, modifieds, and stock clip race cars. In stock are parts from top manufacturers like All-Star Performance, Weir's Machine, Sweet Manufacturing, Winner's Performance, Willwood Brakes, and many others. CRS is also home of CRS Race Components, providing top-quality suspension parts. Orders are shipped out daily using UPS, FedEx, and truck freight. Find out more at closeracingsupply.com.
Kicking up dust, spinning tires, it's a dirt track show. Lenses, focus, inches, rolling, fame with that adrenaline. Capture moments, freeze frames, that's where the thrill begins.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Woah Show, powered by FHM Performance, and we have a cool guest. I don't get to interview a lot of media people. We have a couple announcers. The last time we had a photographer on the show was the photographer for the World of Outlaws, and I think she's still going strong out there, and we nerded out about photography for a little bit, but a new face in central Pennsylvania that I've been following this year. Super cool to have you on, Megan. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, it's cold up here. We're about to get about 2 feet of snow up here in western New York when we're recording this. So about to get snowed in for Thanksgiving, but I would love to start this with, so based out of where I am at, I know that I travel a whole bunch, but my fan base is really in the late model country of Pennsylvania and New York. So how about you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name's Megan Klose. I am a 410 predominantly photographer and media consultant based in central Pennsylvania, so prime PA posse country. Like I was saying earlier to Daniel before we hopped on, I am about 30 minutes from the Grove, an hour to Lincoln and Port, 25 minutes to Baps. So really just in the heart of PA posse country. But I started doing this just over a year and a half ago. I brought my camera to the track. I grew up going to the track, picked up photography in college, worked for an ice hockey team and a baseball team, the Harrisburg Senators, if you're familiar, while I was in college, and then randomly went to the track for Summer Nationals in 2024, brought my camera, and the rest is history. So I'm just about over a year and a half of doing this. I really picked up here, though, in the 2025 season. So yeah, that's a little bit of backstory about me.
I mean, that's how it really starts, right, for most people in photography. There's a couple funny different stories, but it just seems like, so like I was in college and I just took my camera to a racetrack for a class. It was Craig Melvin, who is, I still consider him my mentor. It's really crazy. I look up to him, and he has taught me everything I've ever known about really taking this serious. But for those who don't know, I did concerts, and then I did sports, college basketball, then I ended up doing this somehow. So crazy how that goes. So I guess I'll go with this question. So I love asking this question to announcers and other media people about the differences between coming from racing or coming from the other sports world to racing, because I know what it's like covering different sports. But what is your take on the transition from doing baseball and other sports to racing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, racing photography is the hardest in my opinion. I mean, obviously, we all know that, these beasts are going upwards of 100 miles an hour around the track. So trying to get them framed right, get your settings right is the largest learning curve that took me, because baseball, even basketball, ice hockey, it's a little bit of a slower pace. Once you get used to that, you're kind of in your flow. But racing is definitely a whole different ball game. But I think another thing that makes racing really interesting, at least from me personally, I like to shoot more artistically. Like, I like to capture cars going around the track. Yes, everybody loves to do that, but everybody does that. So you have to find your different, viewpoint, your different niche. So I try to go a little bit artsy. And so I think one of the biggest parts and the different to really make yourself stand out in racing is finding that flow, finding that vision for yourself. And everybody's is different. And it's great that we all have different viewpoints and different things like that. But I think the hardest part was me settling into that and knowing that, like, I don't need to be like everybody else when it comes to racing photography. I can have my own spin on it. And that's really helped me establish my work in the space and really helped me grow, because it is a little bit different than a lot of the more established photographers in the area, just a little bit of a different viewpoint. So that's definitely been the hardest learning curve, but it took me a few months to even get a car in focus, I will say. So the learning curve is for real.
We posted every year. I post like a flashback because I've kept every photo
Yep.
that I've ever taken. I mean, I've called through the ones, but how far you come in such a short time. What really caught me, and you touched on about how you do a lot of more of the creative things, and I think that's what's the most interesting part about what media is becoming now. And we'll definitely talk about this, but like, and I don't mean, and I have a lot of friends that are the old timers that take cargo from left, right. They are there. Sometimes they go wander around the pits, but um, a lot of this younger generation that's getting into racing is starting to have this artistic eye, which, I mean, sometimes I see some of the people that are getting in, even in this last year and last 2 years, the amount of just things that are outside of the box thinking about these racetracks that even I've been to for 5 straight years, where I'm like, how did you get this? What is kind of your philosophy of trying to get those different spots? Whether the candid stuff is just, right time, right moment, but when you're walking around scouting out some of these racetracks, do you just go, well, there's nobody over here, I never see anything on, or um, what is your thought process of getting some of this stuff?
Yeah, great question. I mean, when it comes to the pits, obviously you touched on it, like it's right place, right time, getting people interactions. But on that aspect, not a lot of people, I've come across a lot of photographers who say they think it's awkward to get in people's pit space and all that stuff. And I'm not afraid to push the box. Like, I know the racetrack, I know a car, so I know where not to be. I know when to read the vibe. But I always say this, the sport is fueled by the people behind the scenes, and those people never get enough credit. So 95% of the connections that I've built and everything like that has been because I've stuck myself in somebody's trailer or in somebody's pit space, got photos, and they saw them, they asked for them. So that has helped me grow, tremendously on, the pit side of things. But when it comes to like looking at racetracks, obviously I'm stuck in my ways. I've got my 5-6 tracks that I've found, in Central PA, but if I ever have the opportunity to travel to new tracks, we'll do a lot of that hopefully this season. I literally get there early and just walk around. No camera in hand, just me walking around, and just like, even sometimes I'll put my AirPods in and like nobody's talking to me and just view. So like a lot of times I like to shoot through things. So like find a hole in the guardrail, find a hole in the fence. Maybe I can find a different viewpoint from the infield that'll give me a nice like slow shutter that nobody else has done before. And then again, if there's people there that, have done this multiple times, I'll ask them, good spots, bad spots, everything like that. But I think we all as media people have seen pretty much every track around the country and where people normally shoot. And, I'll throw in a little bit, maybe I'll shoot there for hot laps or shoot there for some, but, I need to make my content stand out in some capacity. So I'm not afraid to put myself in different spots and both on the photo and video side, just to try to find some things. So yeah, AirPods and walking around, just looking for places, looking for where people are and looking for where people aren't.
My strategy the first time, and I don't get to visit a lot of new tracks very often because now I've started to see these places, even stuff that I maybe once every couple years I get to go visit. I got to visit PPMS for the first time last year, and Mercer, I think this year was, I crossed that off my bucket list, and I
Nice.
really did walk around. I almost did like a shadow, like I was like going like this. People must think I'm crazy when I'm just walking around, just checking stuff out and seeing. And another thing is where am I not gonna get yelled at
Yep.
the most for VA? Because I've gotten my fair share of, hey, you're a little close there, buddy.
Yeah, I think we all have.
So with that, kind of doing, you do video, you do a lot of helping teams with their marketing, social media. So I was pigeonholed for the longest time. I'm like, I'm gonna do photos, and then that turned into, well, I'm starting to get good at the social media thing, and then it had just exploded into all these other roles. So I guess touch on that. So in the year plus that you've been doing this, you expanded from taking a camera to a racetrack to filling some very vital roles that are missing. There's a lot of there's a lot of open area in the marketing and social media scene. So how does this all come about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to give a lot of credit to Barry Shear Motorsports and Lance DeWeese for really giving me pretty much my first kickoff last year. So I was able to take over, really actually create. They did not have any social avenues. So, I got in with them and created Facebook and Instagram and then took over the Twitter. I went to college for public relations. I ran social media accounts in college. I worked full time in social media up until January of this year. So social media is not something new to me, but when it came to dirt track racing, it was. So last year I took that over, really made it my baby project because I wanted something for the portfolio to really show people what I could do. So that was really my first project. And then I picked up Stamen Motorsports, which was Devin Borden at the time, then transitioned over to Chase Dietz for the 2025 season. So that was my number 2 client, and really just rocked and rolled with them, posting graphics every race day, weekly schedule updates, sponsor posts, and then when you're at the track, everything you can think of, people want to see. I talk about this a lot, but a lot of times what you'll get when you're looking at dirt track racing is you'll get the people who, one, don't want to buy one of many streaming services that a race is on, or two, people are just out and about and don't have the capability to throw it up on their TV. So when you're updating people on where your driver's finishing time trial wise, where they're pushing off in the heat, maybe where they're pushing off in the feature, those things blow up really quickly, even if it's just a simple text post. So really just experimented with all of that and learned and growed through that through the end of this year. And then, obviously the photography helps. It grew the business a lot. It grew my connections a lot. But, social media is kind of my mojo, my bread and butter. So really excited to grow that. And then, looking ahead to the 2026 season, I have, I think, 14 Pennsylvania clients, full-time PA Posse guys that are joining my team here for the full season of 2026. And then I do have 2 high limit, 2 outlaw guys, and 2 pretty high up dirt track racing businesses that I've taken over as well. So the roster for social media is full, and I'll definitely say, you do have to have a knack for it. You have to have that eye and really be on top of trends and things like that. But it's definitely something that if you get in with one team, you can learn, you can grow, and you can expand. So definitely think adding that is a nice, we all have social media these days, let's be honest. So just really learning how to change your perspective from being a consumer on social to being the person that's posting can get you really far. So that's been the biggest growth, really, bringing on like Casey Kane Racing, David Gravel. That's wild behavior. That's the craziest thing you could ever tell me 2 years into this, but I'm working with some awesome connections that I made down in Charlotte this year. So social media is definitely the name of the game. It's not utilized enough for dirt track racing, and sponsors are looking for it. So, that's 99% of what I hear from guys is, hey, my sponsors need social proof. And if you're able to, post and tag them and give them highlights and showcase their stickers on the car and the wrap and what they provide for the team, that's not only going to boost your overall awareness and reach as a team, but also ensure that those sponsors are coming back for the next season. So definitely a huge avenue to grow to when it comes to social media and dirt track racing, for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely this wide open thing in social media where we as a collective unit in grassroots racing in general, let's just not focus on dirt track here for a moment, where a lot of people just want to know what's going on. So I've managed some different racetrack social media this year on top of my clients, and the biggest thing, right, when we're doing marketing for these racetracks and race teams is, oh, they're still open? Oh, they're still doing that, right? And it's almost like for the longest time, and a lot of, it seems like there was this big gap in just personnel for, my entire childhood. It was the same people doing the same trends, where now we're getting into like oh my God, we have to catch up. So it's this huge thing where, we have so much work to do, and like you said, there's so much potential. I guess, you kind of blown up in this realm. I guess if there's anybody looking to get into it who might have the knack for it, what kind of advice would you give to like an aspiring person that wants to get into the media game?
Yeah. Definitely. I think we all, when we're in, all of us, I don't want to say all of us media people, but 95% of the media people that you meet in racing have some form of connection to the sport in general. You either grew up with the track, you know somebody who drives, maybe somebody who works on a car. So I think getting in with a team like that to start is number one. Even if it just means like, hey, you're not going to get media creds your first go around. I'm going to be honest with you. Pennsylvania specifically, like Central PA, is the hardest, I think, place to get credentials. They are very strict with it. So even this year, one track wouldn't give me credentials, even with all my clients and everything. So, but when it comes to that, you can shoot and do things from general admission. You can do the same thing I do, walking around the pits with my camera with a pit pass. So really, that's the way to get started. You have to put yourself out there, on your own dime, unfortunately. But, once you do that, people will start recognizing your face. And then, go up to people. I will say that 99% of my connections and my clients was because I just went up and shook somebody's hand. I was, at they're taking a picture of the car. They came over and looked at me like I had four heads. I said, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Megan Klose, Megan Klose Photography." And, short and sweet like that. If the conversation continues, it does. It's great. You make connections. But if they don't, at least they know your name and they know your face. So I would say, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Shake people's hands, go up to people, talk to people. Because you really never know who that person might be, what connections they might have beyond just themselves. That's really the number one thing I can say is you just can't be shy about it because, you got to really make a name for yourself. Everybody can just wander around the pits with the camera, but you got to stick out in some capacity. So really just kind of putting yourself out there on the connection side of things professionally, I think is the biggest thing. And also, making your personal brand your baby. I didn't have a Facebook page till April of this year, and I'm about to hit 5K followers. So, you gotta go all in when it comes to that. Post yourself, market yourself, post the pictures you take at the track, but also tell people who you are. What are you doing behind the scenes? I think that's been a big thing for me is, I'm posting days in the life. I'm posting edit with me. I'm posting what does a day in the life look like at the track. Meet me at the track, things like that, because not only are you, marketing your capabilities as a marketer, as a photographer, a videographer, whatever it might be, but you're marketing yourself as a brand. So really just growing that. So those are my two biggest things is one, don't be afraid to reach out to people, talk to people, cold DM them, ask them if they want photos, and two, just really making sure that everything you're putting out on social media is a reflection of who you are as a person, because your personality and your capabilities as a human end up becoming your brand when it comes to media.
If there ever was a networking business, and we're going to steal this from the owner of State Line, I love this quote. If there was ever a business that was a relations business, a networking business, this is definitely it. I have gone very far in this, especially early on, making friends and not being afraid to talk to people, because it feels like, and I don't know if this is just again, talking about the old way of doing things or, this new generation where a lot of people almost are afraid to go up and talk to people and whatever it might be. But I was never afraid to I mean I have my group of people, and honestly it was the first ever race car driver that really put my sticker on the car way back when, and now we've both grown our brands together and it's been super cool. So, that is I tell everybody that, just talk to people. That's how I've always tried to open the door to a lot of photographers and media people at the tracks that I'm able to open the door to.
Absolutely.
Where I'm like, come on, get your feet wet. It's not that scary.
Yeah.
And make sure another thing is now I'm going on my rant here is to try to get hooked up with some publications, try to contribute in every way you can, because a lot of those tags will go a lot farther.
Agreed.
Moving on here with some other ideas and questions I had for you. You've been in central Pennsylvania, but do you have your eyes, in 2026? Do you have a bucket list of racetracks that you want to, check off the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 2026 is looking to be pretty much the most exciting season for me. Obviously, I mentioned Pennsylvania will still be home. I'm still going to have all of those PA Posse guys, and that'll still be my priority. But having some High Limit and World of Outlaw guys now has expanded my capacity to really travel. So looking ahead to 2026, definites on the calendar for me are going to be High Bank Nationals out at Huset's. I've got Knoxville Nationals, Kings Royal. We're blessed in Pennsylvania really to have a lot of the big races. So, Weikert weekend at Port Royal. We've got PA Speed Week, which carries, a lot of money. Not a lot of national guys come in for that, but pretty big week for us here on the East Coast. And then we've got Natty O and my favorite personal weekend, Tusky 50 at Port. So really looking for all of those. But yeah, definitely really excited to get out to Huset's for High Bank National. That's been a big one for me, looking to cross that off. And then Knoxville Nationals, obviously, everybody wants to get out there, so that one's going to be real exciting as well. But yeah, crossing off some big ones this year. Looking to see if I can get to any smaller ones. Might get out to Peevely for I-5 right before Knoxville, but, we're looking to build this brand. I'm in the process of declaring this an LLC and really moving forward with potentially doing this full-time. I will say I'm blessed with the fact that I also do portrait photography on the photography side of things, so that does give me a nice additional, revenue stream. Really, portraits are a nice way to keep that going as well. So looking to have that all finalized here in the new year and possibly make some decisions, professionally really to do that full time. But yeah, looking ahead, I think most exciting for me is going to be Knoxville for sure. I mean, I think that's everybody's number one race, to be honest, if you're a 410 lover, but also really excited for Kings Royal. I had the opportunity to get credentialed for it this year. I'm unable to make it due to some family emergencies there, but I'm super excited to really just be on the road from like June to July, a little bit of August as well. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I had the opportunity to shoot Eldora with late model stuff going on, right? So
Yeah.
it's, late model country. And let me tell you, that place will make you work. I tell everybody this. It is one of the most difficult places I've ever had to shoot. It really challenged me. It made me realize I wasn't as good as I thought I was when I showed in there, because I had a little bit of an ego. I'm like, yeah, I got credentialed for Eldora. I must be that good. And then, about 8 hours later, when I'm going through my photos, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, maybe we're not. But it was a super cool opportunity, and it's super cool to be around all these guys that you get to work for. So 2026 looks to be a great year for you. Can't wait to see what's going on. So I guess, kind of wrapping this up here, we do the last couple questions that we go like a rapid fire thing. You can hurt some feelings, you can make some friends here. But so question number 1, who's your favorite race car driver of all time?
Oh man. I would say Lance Deweese. He's just a real down to earth guy. Obviously, I'm a little biased because he is a client of mine, but never met somebody so chill in the pits. Obviously, he is extremely passionate for what he does, but just really awesome to deal with. He understands the media game. He understands everything that has to do with the car. Super intelligent guy, but will never be above signing an autograph for a kid or talking to really anybody who comes up to him. So in terms of drivers, I would say Lance Deweese.
What is your favorite racetrack?
Man, this one, that's tough. Let's say fan-wise, Port Royal Speedway. You can't go wrong. It's just so iconic, so nostalgic. However, if I'm looking from a media perspective, I really, really like shooting at Williams Grove. Definitely not my favorite place to watch racing at, but there's endless amounts of opportunities for angles, and my creative outlets are my favorite there at the Grove. So Port for watching, Grove for shooting.
I will say I've only been to Port down there in sprint car country, as I like to call it. It's, again, as someone who has come around to sprint cars, and I know Marty Sakala is watching this, and he's going to tell me that I was fully converted this year when I was working for the 305 series that's up here. It made me a fan of sprint car racing. We went for the late models, but my buddy's like, hey, listen, you gotta watch these guys, and it's such a good track for it, and I can't wait to visit once again. So let's see here. Okay, what is like the moment? Like, is there one favorite racing memory that made you like a fan? Like, obviously you grew up going to the racetrack, but is there one particular memory where you are like, oh, this is what my life is now?
Yeah, I think honestly it was this year at Port Royal. PA Speed Week. It was Friday night at PA Speed Week, the Greg Hotton Memorial. I'm working for Barry Shear and Lance Deweese. He ended up winning. I'm going 8th to 1st, I believe. And I captured the video of the team really celebrating as he was pulling into victory lane. And standing behind the camera, getting to experience that firsthand and really just being like part of that team. That was my moment that I was like, this is what I want to do. Obviously, you all want to do it and you knew, like deep down you knew that, but there's always that defining moment where you're like, this is, I'm set in stone with what I want to do. And I think that one's my favorite. Yeah.
All right, what are 3 things you're thankful for?
Thanksgiving week, I love this.
Yeah.
Thankful for my family. They're the best, and they really supported me and continue to support me moving forward with this dream. I mean, it's not easy to do this. When it comes to racing, you're at the track 80, 90 nights a year, really, and they're really supporting me, being my backbone. So definitely them for number 1. Number 2, just having another outlet to really grow. Obviously, I have a full-time job as it stands, but just having a completely different part of who I am, and that's kind of what this, photography racing thing has shaped into, and I'm really grateful for that outlet. And I'm really big in my face, so I'm going to say just, really grateful for God giving me this dream. Again, if you would ask me 3 years ago if I was, what I was doing with my life, racing, photography, and media, not even close to top 10. It would not have been in there at all. And, here I am now really making a name for myself. So I would say, trusting his plan is the number 1 thing. And I'm grateful for setting that in my heart and really just following it. So those would be my 3.
All right, one last thing, and then we're going to get out of here. Thank everybody that's made this happen. If you have sponsors, you can thank your sponsors. It's usually where the drivers do that. Sponsors, people that make this happen, everything that you're thankful for, or the people that you're thankful for.
Yeah, I don't have any sponsors, but I'm grateful for all of you guys tuning in. If you're looking to follow me on anything, it's Megan Klose Photography on Facebook and Photos by Klose on Instagram and TikTok. But yeah, just super grateful for you for reaching out. This has been a great time, really chatting it up, getting nerdy with the media part of sprint car racing. But, just really an all call to support your local media, photographers, anybody in racing, because like we had brought up earlier, we don't really make a lot of money from this. We're doing this from, our passion and just growing the sport overall. So definitely take a moment out of your day to thank a photographer or, boost their profiles, because it ends up helping them in the long run. So yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Good luck in the next year.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody, start again. Hey, everybody, Woah Nelly from the future. Time to do some ad reads here, as we have a lot of partners that make everything here happen at Woah Nelly Productions. First and foremost, Carpy's Print Company is your source for the best wraps, merch, designs. If they don't do it, you don't need it. And that says everything, because they even do energy drinks, RC car wraps. I see stuff that they do all the time that I didn't even see pop up, whether it be on their Facebook page or not. Some of the best wraps in the game. If you see it out on the racetrack and it looks amazing, it's probably a Carpy's Print Company product. So make sure you go and mention us today to get your wraps for 2026, or your merch, or anything else that you might need for print purposes. Zenfolio is the backbone of Woah Nelly Productions. Our website runs on Zenfolio, and if you bought a season package or photos from us this year, that's where you got them from. It's a Zenfolio-powered website. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do all these cool things. We use it in very interesting and unique ways, and we hope to continue working with them in the future. And of course, Klose Racing Supply, your home for all dirt track oval products. If you need it, they probably have it to go fast in 2026. It's time to start getting back out in the garage. Racing season's not that far away. Affliction Race Cars is the official modified of Woah Nelly Productions. It is also time to, maybe think about some upgrades. David Scott has a whole bunch of things going on in his shop there, and the Scotts have been great supporters of what we do here, and I cannot wait to keep seeing what they do out of their shop. They're good partners with Klose Racing Supply, and you can get Klose Racing Supply parts right there too. On top of that, fire suits, they do that there, and man, they make a lot of people go fast. Probably one of the better shops to go to out of the area. Can't wait to see what their 2026 plans are out there. Bernahalo Hot Sauce Company was part of our sponsorships in 2025. They sponsored the Hot Laps portion of the Woah modified races. They have some of the best sauce in the game. They going on and on about how I am not a hot sauce person. I am not a fan of the heats, and they bring flavor along with some heat. So check them out today. It's worth a try. Some other lower down here on my list of sponsors, FHM Performance started this year, was our power plant supplier for our go-kart. Victory Fuel, State Line Speedway, and Bradford Speedway, also partners in 2025. If you want to get a part of us in 2026, reach on out. We'll be doing this podcast all winter long. And now back to the program.